Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to share with you all step-by-step instructions on how to make the silkiest and flakiest and softest bus-up shot roti. And once you follow my method and my steps, I promise you will not have to buy bus-up shots again. To the flour, I'm going to go in with my baking powder. And when you're making bus-up shot or paratha, you always want to go a little shy on the baking powder. You don't need as much as when you're making dal curry. So I'm going to go in with 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. That's just going to be enough. And I'm going to go in with 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. Now this brown sugar trick, I learned it from my mother, and it really makes a difference with the taste of the roti. So to this, that's all we need in there. All we have to do now is mix this. So in this cup, I have 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of water mixed. I'm using whole milk, and I like using or making a milk bus-up shot because it makes it much more silkier. So all I'm going to do is slowly add my lukewarm milk to my flour and bring it together to form a soft to medium dough. So you're gonna add a little bit at a time and just bring the dry flour together with the wet milk. Now I like to use a method of squeezing the dry flour together with that milk or water, whichever one you decide to use, until it comes together. So you pour in the milk and then you just squeeze with your fingertips to bring it together to form that dough. And as it forms a dough, I push it aside and then I work on the rest of dry flour. You guys see how it's pulling together? That's how you want to do it. I have a little bit of milk left and I have a little bit of dry flour left on the side here. So I'm going to pour in my milk. And I used exactly 2 cups of milk for this 4 cups of flour. Now as you notice, I put in a little bit at a time, so don't go putting all. You may or may not need all of it. And now we're going to bring it together like this. And we're going to continue to knead it. I like to clean the bowl as I'm kneading. It's just something that my mom taught me, to clean as you go. And you see how nice and clean the bowl is? So you don't make a mess, so you don't look messy when you're cooking. So now that it has come together into this bowl, you can see it's a little bit sticky. I'm going to go in with some dry flour. And I'm going to use my hands like this and squeeze the flour. So grab it, squeeze it and turn. Grab it, squeeze it and turn, and continue doing this for about 3 minutes. We want to help the gluten in that flour to activate. Now I'm going to continue kneading it again with some more dry flour. The dry flour just helps prevent the flour from sticking to your hands. And I know my hands are clean. I just had to answer the phone, so I had to clean my hands off. So I'm just going to continue kneading this again. Just like I showed you all, grab and squeeze and turn. Grab, squeeze and turn. And I'm going to do this for another 5 minutes. I really want a nice, smooth, silky roti, and doing this really helps. Now some people like to pull in like this and push out, pull in and push out. That's just another way, but I find when you do it like this, it tends to get the flour tight. So hence the reason why I prefer the grab and squeeze method. It's just my personal preference. Okay, after that 5 minutes of kneading, I'm going to drizzle a little bit of vegetable oil or canola oil. I don't suggest using olive oil, and what I'm going to do is just put it on both sides. So make sure both sides have that oil. And now I'm going to take my hands in a fist-like and squeeze down. And I'm just going to do this for 1 more minute, and then we'll put the dough to rest. So now, excuse the baby in the background. Now I'm just gonna cover with a damp tissue, and this just is gonna help prevent any drying out on the surface of the flour. And then we're gonna cover it with a tea towel and allow it to rest for 10 minutes. So while the flour is resting, let's talk about the filling that's going to go into the roti. So I like using a combination of Crisco, butter, or sometimes I can't believe it's not butter. You can use whatever you have on hand, even margarine. So I'm gonna go in with some Crisco. I would say about 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons, depending on how much roti you have. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement, you just want equal portions of butter to Crisco. Sometimes if I run out, I may have to make more. And I'm gonna add the butter to this. That seems like it may be enough, and all I have to do now is take my spatula, mash the two together. Now I prefer this to be not wet or runny or oily. It actually pastes better and it helps you to roll out your roti better. So you just need it at room temperature. So once it's mixed in like this, all you have to do is set this aside and wait for the roti, the dough itself, to finish rest. Okay, so when the flour is finished resting, you're going to break it into small dough balls. And you'll know it's finished resting because you're not going to feel any tension in the flour. So I want to make my roti pretty small because I don't want to go bigger than the tower. So I'm making it into about 3-inch dough balls. And if you guys can tell, the way I break my dough ball is I scoop, and then I come here and I squeeze and I break it off. And all I do is pull and tuck and then bring it up like this to form that dough ball. Everyone has their own unique way of doing it, and this is the way that my mom taught me. Next, you want to cover it and allow it to rest again, because by pulling it together we created a lot of tension. We need those gluten strands to relax. So cover with a damp paper towel and a tea towel and allow it to rest for 5 minutes. Okay, after the dough is finished resting, we're going to open them out and paste that filling that we made. And all you have to do now is go ahead and roll this out. So just about this would be good. And then we go ahead and we take that butter mixture, and you want to paste that butter mixture, a thin layer on the entire dough. Sprinkle with some dry flour. Make a cut. And make sure and use the wrong side of the knife so you don't cut your countertop. And then fold this into a cone. I will be right back. My son wants a kiss. And then this goes in inside here, like this. And then the top goes in inside like this. And you have one layer. So I'm gonna do another one and show you guys. I'm just gonna set this one aside. So guys, once you finish have your dough balls or your layers, you're going to cover it with a damp paper towel again. The damp paper towel is really necessary so that that dough ball doesn't dry out and create a kind of scaly texture on the top of your roti. And then cover it with your tea towel because you want to keep that moisture in the paper towel. And allow it to rest for minimum 1 hour. The longer you let it rest, the better and silkier roti you're going to get. So I'm gonna leave mine to rest for a couple of hours, and then I'll come in and we'll cook the roti and I'll show you guys the outcome. So guys, the layers have been resting for quite some time, and you see how nice and soft it is. That's how you want it to be. So now we're going to go ahead and cook the roti. So I'm going to take one and we're going to move over to the countertop. Now you want to flour your countertop liberally, and the dough also, both sides. Now you want to press down on the ends of the roti because you want a nice roti with a nice thin end. You don't want the thick end. So just press down on that, and the middle you don't have to worry about if it's a little bit raised. And then we're going to take our rolling pin and roll more on the ends. So you want to press more when you're rolling the ends, press more on one side, and as you go to the other side you press more on the other side, and that's how you get your ends to be nice and thin. And flour as you go because it can stick to the countertop, and that's okay if you don't make a perfect circle. After all, it is bus-up shot. So press and roll. And make sure you also don't go bigger than the size of your tower. Okay, so one of the most crucial parts of making a paratha is that you need your heat to be on a medium low. You don't want it to be too high and you don't want it to be too low. So I have mine right now on a 6.5. I'm just waiting for the tower to feel perfect, nice and hot. I'm just going to go onto the tower with a layer of oil. This is just going to help prevent the bus-up shot or the paratha from sticking. And now I'm going to go on to the tower with that paratha roti rolled out. Allow it to cook there for about 20 seconds and then we'll flip it. I'm going to go ahead and using my dabbler, I'm going to flip this. Just be careful. So you just want to lightly brush a thin layer of oil on one side. We're going to allow it to cook again before we flip it and oil the other side. So after about 20 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and flip this again. And I'm going to lightly brush this other side with some oil. And now we're going to allow it to cook. Now as you would see, this end is not getting a lot of heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it to the center of the tower, or we can just fold it like this, just to make sure that the ends are cooked properly. You don't want to cook your roti and the ends are raw. Just going to open out that flip. And you see it's cooking. And that's what you want to do, to make sure that it's cooked properly. So now I'm going to cook the other end. Now that the ends are cooked, we're going to pull it to the center. This is going to ensure that it cooks a little further, just in case it's still raw. Flip. And you guys can already see the flakiness of that roti. And all I have to do now is put down on it to create the bus-up shot effect. Okay, so this one is finished. I'm gonna continue cooking the rest of them, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like in the end. So guys, this is the last roti I'm cooking here. It's so silky and so flaky. I'm so excited for you all to try these step-by-step instructions. So guys, here is the finished roti. Look how silky, look how soft, look how flaky. And it's all homemade. You guys don't have to go out and spend your money again to buy roti. You can make it yourself. The good thing about my recipe is you can make the loyas ahead of time, refrigerate, defrost the next day, and then cook, and you would get the same perfect results. Soft, silky, flaky bus-up shot. The best bus-up shot you'll ever eat. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!